Hey, howdy, how you doing? You all are going to be rowdy today. I could tell during the music, okay? And I blame you, John Morgan, all right? Like, you're the whistler, man. Oh, man, that worship set, like, I haven't heard that, How Great Is Our God. That's an old Chris Tomlin song. I haven't heard that since, like, 2003, and it is darn good, okay? I love that. Anyway, isn't it good that it is not 190 degrees outside today? Oh, my goodness. I woke up this morning and it was 69 degrees. I'm like, praise you, Lord. All right. I think somebody's cross got melted to the sidewalk yesterday. It was unreal. But it's so good to have you here. And if you're new, we had so many first-timers in the last service, and we probably have some in this service. If you're new, welcome to the basement. I'm glad you're here. My name is Joel. I'm the campus pastor around here. And after the service, I'm going to be out in our lobby. And I love to just say hello to you. And so if you're new, I know it's like weird to go to a person, but please come see me. And I come bearing gifts. I have a gift for you. All right, so just come hang out, and I'd love to meet you after the service. And thanks for being here. If you are not here, that means you are joining us online right now. And can you get rowdy for our online family right now who's joining us? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. And maybe you weren't here last weekend. If you weren't, this is week 2 of this series we're calling You Matter, You Matter, You Matter. We wrote it 3 times just so you all wouldn't forget, okay? And last weekend, I introduced you to the character in the Bible that we are looking at in this series. We'll throw his name on the screen. Yeah, last weekend I said there's a fun way to say this, and there's the right way to say this. Who remembers the fun way? Anybody? Nah, man. Yeah, man. Okay. And I know some of you are like in English and pronunciation. Like, what's the right way to say it? See, not as fun. Nah, man's way more fun, but they wouldn't let me name the series Nah, Man. So anyway, we're working with You Matter, You Matter, You Matter. And I'm going to use Naaman to talk to you about his story today. And I'm naming today's message, A Fork, like a lunch fork, and it's close to lunch, a fork in the road. So if you're sitting near somebody, just turn to them and say, why is everything he talks about making me want to eat lunch? I don't know where you're going to lunch today, but I do know I always like to start out with a question, and our questions sometimes separate us into groups. And so we're about to have a church split this morning, y'all. Because this question is going to separate us into 2 distinct groups, okay? It's going to separate us into the young people and the not-so-young people. That's as nice as I could come up with. I didn't say vintage people, so that's good. Listen, we're going to find out real quick in this question who is on Snapchat and who's on AARP. And I'm not on Snapchat, so I'll let you know which category I'm in. How many of you are old enough to remember catalogs that would come in the mail? Come on, how many remember the Sears catalog? Woo! And they were huge. Right? Like, I think my dad had to reinforce the post on the mailbox to hold the Boscov's catalogs. And it was like Christmas morning when I could get a catalog when I was a kid. I'd look through them, and some of them wouldn't be anything for me, but I'd always look for BB guns. Because this is the 80s, man. Every kid wanted a BB gun, a Super Soaker, and a Atari, okay? You miss the 80s a little bit. I'm missing. That was my time. Some of you are like, in the 80s, the 1900s? Anyway, if you're already confused, this is going to make you more confused. Because when you wanted to order something out of a catalog, you had to call a 1-800 number. Hello? Or, if you wanted to go old school, you filled out the mail order form. And how long did it take for something to show up to your house? Anybody remember? 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks. I like to say 17 years, okay? It'd be 3 birthdays and 8 Super Bowls later before it'd show up. And I remember the very first thing I ever ordered out of a catalog, and I was probably in 4th grade, and every single day I'd come home from school just waiting. Is it on the front step? Is it coming? Is it here? Okay, and I passed birthdays, I passed Super Bowls, people became new presidents, okay, it took forever. And finally, when it showed up, I'll never forget, because we have a Rottweiler. Okay, his name was Teddy. And Teddy, no lie, had eaten 79% of the box. It took forever to show up. And there were pieces of like, I don't know what I ordered. Like my Super Soaker was in the front yard, the backyard, the roof. I mean, it was just ripped apart. By the way, that Rottweiler was the same dog that ripped a hole in our kitchen floor as a kid growing up, like this big. And he ate our neighbor's cat one time. And so Teddy got replaced with a nice beagle named Applejacks, okay? But do you remember what replaced, or do you know what replaced catalogs? Amazon. You said it. We didn't even plan it. Amazon. Or as my mother-in-law likes to call it, Amazon. Do you love Amazon as much as I do? I love Amazon. So, yeah, some of you don't. Haters, it's all right. Order out a catalog. But, so the other day, my wife said to me, she's like, honey, do you know what day it is? I'm like, is it Taco Tuesday? She's like, no, it's Amazon Prime Day. I'm like, what is Amazon Prime Day? She's like, it's like normal Amazon, but cheaper. I was like, nuh-uh. And she's like, uh-huh. And I was like, Amazon. And so, listen, I'm Pastor Tight, but I went off the rails on Amazon Prime Day. I Dave Ramsey sinned on Amazon Prime Day. And it's not my fault, okay? Have you ever put something in your cart that you know you shouldn't buy, but it's the irresponsible items that you don't ever check out? You ever have any of those things? Okay, we'll throw the one that's, I've been drooling over on the screen. This is the one that gets me, all right. When you're 40, you know it's an appliance, okay? The GE Profile Opal 1.0 Nugget Ice Maker that makes crunchy ice, crunchy ice. Like the ice at Chick-fil-A? Come on, that Christian ice at Chick-fil-A. Come on, how many know about that Christian ice? Oh my goodness. And so I couldn't help it. I bought it. And listen, here's the thing. I'm a pastor. It's $449. I can't afford that. But it's Amazon Prime Day. So it's 49% off. Come on, $225. Come on. So I ordered that, and that's not the only thing I ordered. I also ordered, because when you make bad decisions, you do it in multiples. So I also ordered these jeans that I'm wearing right now, okay, which have paint marks on them. I did not see that in the picture, all right? The first service, some lady came up to me. She thought they were gemstones. I'm like, I got my limits, lady. Anyway, so I ordered both these things. The Opal Crunchy Ice came in right away. Glory to God. It was wonderful. But the jeans didn't show up. Now, on Amazon, it said that it was delivered to my house. But I live at my house. And they were not at my house. Has this ever happened to you where it says it's there, but it's not there? And so I started talking to the robot Amazon or whatever. I was chatting with them. And they said, well, they probably sent it it went to the wrong place. But since you're a knucklehead and you ordered a $449 ice maker machine, we're going to go ahead and overnight you another pair for free on the house. I'm like, Amazon. But these went to the wrong place at first. Everybody said the wrong place. And here's the thing. I think sometimes in our life, we can end up in the wrong place too. I feel like sometimes we end up in the wrong place, all right? And so I'm curious, have you ever felt like God's ever said to you, or not said, because that gets weird in church, but like, have you ever felt like God was like, hey, go here, or do this, or don't do that, hello, don't you marry him, ladies, you better run for your life. And God like directs you some way, and you're like, nah, man. And you do what you want to do, and you end up in the wrong place. Has this ever happened to you? Is it just me? I think so many times God's like, go here or do this, and we're like, I'm going to go, I'm thinking about going here and doing that, because we come to a fork in the road. Now, in my mind, this isn't in the Bible, but in my mind, the way it works is like angels watch us from heaven. They like track us, kind of like we track our shipping packages on Amazon. And so like the angel Gabriel's like looking down. He's like, Lord, Joel has lost his mind today. Didn't you tell him to go to the Aldi and help little old ladies like load up their groceries in the back of their car? Well, he's in his living room eating crunchy ice and drinking Mountain Dew. And God's like, that's not what, you know. And I think it's funny. God says, go here and do this. And we're like, we want to go there and do that. Everybody say a fork in the road. And what's wild is when we go where we want to go and then we end up in the wrong place, that's when we're like, God, how could you let this happen to me? Like, clearly I don't care about, or you don't care about me, God. You know, and that's what happens. And so if that sounds like your life, good news, you're not the only one. I know a guy who struggles with this. But that's why I'm so glad that with God, it's never too late to get to the right place. If you're in the wrong place right now, with God, it's never too late to get back to the right place. Now, speaking of the wrong place, last weekend I introduced you to Naaman or Naaman. And Naaman, just a kind of a refresher, he's an army commander for Aram, which is like the bad guys, okay? Not God's people. But God still was blessing Naaman. God gave him good things, gave him victories, all right? But Naaman had one little problem in his life. He had a little skin disease called the leprosy. Everybody say the leprosy. All right, Naaman, his skin was falling off like worse than a Canadian who laid in front of the thrashers on the boardwalk yesterday and got all peeled up, okay? His skin's falling off, and his servant girl in his house said, hey, I know the person in the place you can see to get healed. And the place you need to go is Samaria. So where's the place? Samaria. And the person you need to see is Elijah the prophet. Who is the person? Elijah. And Naaman is like, nah, man. I'm going to go to my king, the king of Aram, instead. And so he goes to the wrong place, and this is where we pick up from last week. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 4 says, so Naaman told the king, this is the king of Aram. This is not Elijah from Samaria. So he's already in the wrong place. He told the king what the young girl from Israel has said. So let's pause there. So here's what happened. The girl said, hey, Naaman, go here, see this person, get healed. And Naaman said, I'm going to go there, see a different person, and get advice. Now, I'm curious, have you ever gone to the wrong person for advice before? Have you done this before? I remember back in the day, me and my wife, we used to go to the gym all the time. Okay, now we don't go to the gym anymore. We work out in the living room. We do. All right, we have all the setup in the living room. Because I figured out at the gym, the only thing that got worked out on me is my yapper. I think I'm the first person in gym history who got even more inverted biceps by going to the gym. And so everyone talks, and I just, that's what happened. And so one day I was at the gym, and what does everybody do in the gym? They talk. And I'm on the treadmill, and I got on the wrong treadmill because I got next to this little old lady, and she started giving me money advice. Now, I did not ask for her advice, but I was on the wrong treadmill. And so she knew me a little bit, so she's like, hey, I know you're Pastor Tice. I know you don't like to spend your money, you like to save it for retirement or whatever. But she's like, YOLO, Pastor Tice. And she was vintage. She was way too old to be saying YOLO, you know what I'm saying? I about fell off the treadmill. I'm like, YOLO, are you living still? Anyway, she was like, you need to spend that money, honey. Get a camper. Get a truck to pull the camper. Get two Sea-Doos so the one Sea-Doo ain't lonely. Get yourself a crushed ice machine. I'm like, okay, now we're talking. But listen, this lady, she didn't have any money, and so she's not the person I'm going to for money advice. And I didn't go to her in the first place anyway. And so listen, sometimes in life we go to the wrong person. And so if you need money advice, you don't go to your broke cousin Eddie with a fake turtleneck and hire him as your financial advisor. If you're trying to beat an alcohol addiction, you don't buddy up to 24-pack a night Kenny and be like, Kenny, would you just show me how to stop? If you're trying to get in shape, you don't hire the head donut maker at the Fractured Prune and call them your chef. And if you want money or marriage advice, you don't go to singles night at the Starboard and be like, hit me with your best shot, guys. Tell me your best marriage advice. I remember years ago, this guy came to me, and people ask, like, if you're a pastor, people come to you for advice or whatever. And so this guy was like, hey, Joel, my marriage is struggling. All my friends are saying, like, hey, it's not going to work out, so you just let it end. And so, like, what do you think I should do? And my first question was, well, hey, tell me about your friends who gave you this advice. And he's like, oh, yeah, they're all single. He's like, yeah, they're batting zero when it comes to relationships. Why do you ask? I'm like, no reason, just curious. But I told him what I tell every single person who asks me this question. Unless there's serial cheating or abuse, you fight like crazy to save your marriage. Like, for better or worse. Like, fight for that thing. And I was so proud of him because he actually followed that advice. And what's funny is, like, anytime I give people advice, like, they never do it. But he did it. And I can't tell you how many times in the last 5 years he's come to me and been like, Joel, I am so glad I did not listen to my single friends on their marriage advice. Because my marriage is the best it's ever been. And my thought or my takeaway for you is this: if you are at a fork in the road right now, get advice from people who already are where you want to be, who are already there. And Naaman, okay, he doesn't do that. He doesn't go to the guy who can heal him. He goes to his king instead. And his king knew this was a big piece of stupid already. And so let's pick up the story. Verse 5. The king, says, go and visit the prophet. Like, hello, like, I can't, go see the prophet. So finally somebody is speaking some sense in this story. But it's about to get confusing again. So the king says, I will send a letter of introduction for you, Naaman, to take to the, who? Is the king of Israel Elijah the prophet? No. I'm confused again. Maybe I ate too much crunchy ice this week, but he said the right thing and then he said the wrong thing. Let's keep going. So Naaman started out carrying his gifts, 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter to the king of Israel said, with this letter, I present my servant Naaman. I want you, the king of Israel, not Elijah, I want you to heal him of his leprosy. Everybody say, what? All right, let's put this together. So the girl says, go see Elijah and you'll get healed. Naaman says, nah, man, I'm going to go to the king of Aram instead. The king of Aram says, Naaman, go see Elijah and you'll get healed. And Naaman's like, you're the second person who said that. Maybe I should do that. But then the king of Aram says, did I say Elisha? I meant to say the king of Israel. Are you confused? It's so confusing. But here's what's not confusing to me. And I'm learning this in life. We rarely get the right results by going to the wrong place. We rarely get the right results in the wrong places. I'll give you an illustration to explain it. Can I show you, can I be a proud dad and show you a picture of my kids? I love my kids. Some of you see them run around the building. But here's my kids. We'll throw up here on the screen. This is beautiful Nora. This is spicy life of the party Nixon. And by the way, these are their tattoos because YOLO. No, listen, don't email me. It's henna, okay? But my kids love animals. Love that. I mean, that's a snake on Nixon's arm right there. Like, they love animals. My daughter Nora would love to be a veterinarian one day. I'm like, yay, but college bills, Nixon asks me every day if he can have a Komodo dragon. Every single day. They love animals. But they did a big piece of stupid when it comes to an animal like a couple years ago. And here's what happened. We were at my brother's house, and my kids snuck off, and they found a goose nest with goose eggs in it. Now, I should just say this. I do not like geese. Listen, geese are the devil's bird. Have you ever been on a wild goose chase and you're the one getting chased? Geese are mean, they're evil, they will chase you, and they will poop all over your yard, okay? Mean. My kids don't know this, though, all right? So they find these goose eggs, and they had this idea. They're like, well, maybe we'll kidnap one, and we'll sneak it home, and Mom and Dad won't know about it, and then we'll be the proud owners of a pet goose. And apparently, Stacy and I pay no attention to our children because guess what they kidnapped? A goose egg. And we had no idea. But a week later, we're riding around in Stacy's minivan, and it had a scent to it. Now, my wife's not in this service, so I can say this. It doesn't always smell that good in her car anyway. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. And by while, I mean there's Sears catalog still in there. Like, it's never been cleaned. But it was a funkier smell than even normal. And so, like, when we got home, like, I went in the garage, I was doing something. Stacy started, like, she's doing a sniff test. She's like, and she's looking for her old McNugget, or she's looking for, like, Nixon's moldy soccer socks. But instead, she found an egg in a cup holder. Now, she didn't know it was a goose egg, because who's going to think there's a goose egg in the minivan cup holder? She picked it up, and then she lost her grip. And the egg dropped. And it broke inside her minivan, y'all. And this is the moment I would like to offer you. Our minivan is for sale. It's a 2012. It's a Sienna. It's very clean. Not really. We're non-smokers, so no smoke smell. But there is another smell, okay? Nature. Anyway. So all I hear I'm in the garage. All I hear is Stacy go, "Ah!" And so she calls me, she calls the kids, she's calling the ambulance, she's calling everybody, and we go to the car, and we're like, kids, what is this? And they're like, there's the goose egg. And so I'm like, kids, listen, the goose, it's not going to turn into a goose in mommy's cup holders. Like, it's just going to turn your parents into mean people. And so, like, the goose is not going to the goose egg isn't going to turn into a goose in the cup holder. Why? Because we rarely get the right results in the wrong places. But we try all the time. Oh my goodness, God says, hey, go over here, and we go way over here. God's like, hey, I know you're trying to beat that habit. So, don't go hang out with those friends. They're still kind of struggling with that habit. And we're like, oh, thanks for the advice, God. I'm going out. It's Friday night with my friends. Or God's like, don't you marry him. I know he looks, I think we have a picture of how he looks. I know he looks like this guy. Barbie Ken. By the way, ladies, you okay? You good? We're good? A little hot? Anyway. But God's like, hey, I know he looks like that, but I'm telling you, if you marry him, he's going to turn into a rotten goose egg. Don't you do it. And what do? You marry him, you're like, I didn't know he was a rotten goose egg. And this happens all the time, but we're not smarter than God. We're not smarter than this book. But all the time, like we think like, oh, we can go the fork in the road. I'll go this way. And that's what Naaman does. He doesn't go to Elijah. He goes to the king of Israel. And so here's what happens in verse 7. He goes to the king. Now, when the king read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay. Now, pause. Maybe that's confusing you, but in the Bible, if you are mad, you rip your clothes off. Which, aren't you glad we don't do that anymore? I mean, I'd walk out of the Walmart naked every single time. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, we don't do this anymore. But back in the Bible, they're just like, woo! Okay, they're mad. So he's mad. He's freaking out. And this is what he says. Okay, he's freaking out. Am I God that I can give life and take it away? Why is this man asking me to heal someone with leprosy? I can see that he, talking about the king of Aram, he's just trying to pick a fight with me. And so the king of Israel, he's freaking out in his mind. In his mind, now he's going to war with Aram. I'm curious, has your mind ever taken you on a wild ride before? That ever happened to you before? Oh my goodness, I think that happens all the time. Here's an example. Back in May, I had all the staff from all of our campuses. We have 3 campuses. I had them all over to my house, and we're going to have a staff fun day. And I thought, it would be fun because it's staff fun day. And so this is what we did. Like in our neighborhood, in my neighborhood, we have this beach volleyball court that nobody uses, but we all pay for, called the HOA. And I thought, well, since, I'm paying at least 8 ice making machines for this every year, we should use this on Staff Fun Day. And so we decided to go out there and have what I thought would be a friendly game of church staff volleyball. Right? Wrong. I found out that everybody I work with are competitive psychopaths. Like how our church staff works at church, I don't know, okay? Because like right out of the gate, everybody's losing their mind. Like here's the first picture that we got in our group text thread after the volleyball game. We'll put this on the screen. This is from the volleyball game. This is Nate Williams. You know, the guy who's normally over here, the sensitive man who cries during all the worship sets about Jesus. Competitive psychopath. Pastor Cotter, who's so calm and collected. We thought that he got concussed twice in the game. And then we can't forget Kristen, our kids director. Afterwards, this is the picture she sent us. Because Kristen went directly from my house to the emergency room because she tore something in her thumb. And I have never been more proud of our staff in my entire life. Come on now. Woo! Yeah, we won 4 games. We were crushing them, okay? And I am the oldest person on our Rehoboth team, all right? And so, like, if you can't tell by the ear hair, like, I am the oldest person on the Rehoboth team. And I can't hang with Kristen and Nate and, you know, Cotter, but I tried my best in that game. So I went a little all out, and I don't know how, but during the game, I did something to these 2 fingers where they pulled back. I think they touched, you know, my ear or something. And for 10 weeks, I have not been able to, like, pick up any weight with these 2 fingers. I don't know if I tore a ligament. I don't know if I need more Metamucil. I don't know, okay? But I did something on Monday I'm not proud of. I went on to WebMD. Have you ever done this before? Listen, within 2 minutes, I had a brain tumor. I had ADHD. I had diabetes. I had scarlet fever, measles, ringworm. I had everything you can imagine. I'm like, how did I go from volleyball to ringworm? But I was freaking out in my mind. And isn't it true that we can start freaking out in our mind because our mind can take us on a wild ride? Isn't that true? Oh my goodness. And there's somebody in the room right now. There's somebody who's watching online right now, and you are freaking out. You made something so big in your mind. You have made something so scary in your mind. You can't think straight. You can't see straight. You can't drive straight, which is bad because some of you on your best day can't drive straight. But I just want to tell you that our God's presence and His peace is greater than the wild ride your mind is taking you on. Our God's peace and His presence is greater than wherever your mind is taking you to. There's a bumper sticker verse in the Bible. I don't know if you know what a bumper sticker verse is. I call them that because I think it's those verses in the Bible that are easier to apply to your van than they are to apply to your life. And so here's one of the most famous bumper sticker verses. Probably some of you, it's your favorite verse. It's Philippians 4, 6 through 7. It says, do not be anxious about anything. Hello. Okay, nothing. Don't be anxious about nothing. But in every situation, including the one your mind is taking you on a wild ride on right now, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God and the peace of God. Everybody say the peace of God. Peace of God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Now, I'm curious, how many of you have heard this bumper sticker verse before? Who's heard it? Okay, hands down. Let's do a second poll. How many of you think this is easier to apply to your bumper than it is to your life? Yes. And I am the pastor. I'm on your team. And there's kind of like a side story that you always hear with this verse, all right, or these verses. The guy who wrote it, his name was Paul. He was in prison when he wrote this. Like he's in the clink. How on earth are you going to not have anxiety and you're going to have peace in prison? Do you want to know how? I'm going to ask you again. Do you want to know how? Yes. Okay. The how is in the 4 words that never make it on the bumper sticker. It's on the 4 words right before this verse. All right. So here is the how. We'll put it up on the screen. The Lord is there. Why isn't this on the bumper sticker? It's the key to the whole thing, okay? So how are we not anxious? How do we have peace when our mind is going crazy? We remember the Lord is near. The Lord is near. He's near. He's not out there somewhere, managing the galaxy. He is right here. He is near. He's near. And I'm telling you, his peace and his presence is greater than the wild ride your mind is taking you on right now. And so if you're freaking out right now, the Lord is near. If your mind is taking you on a wild ride right now, the Lord is near. If you're anxious right now, the Lord is near. If you're at a fork in the road right now, the Lord is near. And he is and will always be the right place to go when your mind is in the wrong place. But Naaman, he doesn't go to the right place, okay? He went, to the king of Aram. Now he went to the king of Israel, who is now naked because he ripped all his clothes off. And here's where we're going to land it today, on verse 8. But when Elisha, the man of God, this is the guy, the right guy. Finally, he's in the story. When Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. I think this is so funny. Why are you so upset? Like, put your clothes back on, man. Nah, man. Yeah, anyway. Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel. And so Naaman, what's he do? He went, finally, he went with his horses and his chariots, and he waited at the door of Elijah's house. So he pulls up to Elijah's house. He's like, meh. Hey, you take Blue Cross Blue Shield? He finally shows up to Elisha's. Now, here's a question. This is not a trick question. Is Naaman in the Bible? Yes. Good. Second question. Is everybody in the Bible a good guy? No. Okay, have you heard of Judas? And Naaman is not a good guy either. He is the army commander, not a army commander, the army commander for God's enemy. He has kidnapped people. He has murdered people. Okay, he has for 8 verses gone the wrong. God's been like, go here, and he's like, nah, man. Okay, so question: if you're God, have you lost patience with Naaman at this point? Yes or no? Yes. We lose patience over things way less than that. Okay, like here's a picture of who I'm losing patience with in my life right now. Well, this guy. Yeah, you say "oh." I'm going to let him run around your house in his bathrobe for a while. You won't be saying "oh." This is our dog, and we named him wrong. Okay, we named him Charlie, and we should have named him Football, because every day I want to punt Charlie. Because Charlie, listen, I wouldn't punt my dog, but Charlie is a chewer. Okay, and you might be like, well, Pastor, get him some chew toys. He has 793 chew toys. Do you know what he chews on? My kitchen rug. He chews on my bathing suits. He chews on my flip-flops. He chews on the laces of the end of my tennis shoes. He's ripped the fabric totally off the bottom of 2 of our dining room tables or chairs. Okay, I'm 99% sure he's working on the 3rd one right now. And we have another dog, okay, his name's Eli, and so Stacy keeps on saying, hey, honey, Eli, remember Eli when he was a puppy? Now, Eli's 15. He can't do anything wrong. He sleeps all day. But she's like, when he was a puppy, he would chew on things too. Now, I have selective memory. My dog Eli can do no wrong. Right? But everything this boy does is wrong, okay? I'm going to send him through the uprights, man. And so we lose our patience with our pets. We lose our patience with our kids. Hello, parents. Some of you lost patience on your way to church today because you went down Route 24. And so it's so easy, since we lose our patience over nothing, for us to think, well, if I go the wrong way or do the wrong thing or take the wrong path on the wrong, on the fork of the road, then God's got to lose patience with me, right? Wrong. Naaman did everything wrong. He went to the wrong place. At the fork in the road, he went the wrong way. And God's like, Naaman, I'm patiently waiting. Listen, God is so patient. Peter, like denied Jesus 3 times. Peter, that guy. In 2 Peter 3:9, he says, the Lord is patient with you. Just say this with me. The Lord is patient with me. And sometimes we do the wrong thing. Sometimes we go the wrong way. Sometimes at the fork in the road, we don't consult him. We consult our buddies and go to the wrong place. But I'm so thankful God is patient with me and he's patient with you. Aren't you thankful for that? And next weekend, we're going to learn how God's patience leads to Naaman's healing. But for you today, I just want you to know if you're in the wrong place, it's never too late to get back to the right place. It's never too late. Like today, right now, you're at a fork in the road. This is your fork in the road. And you can get back to the right place. Listen, if you're not dead, you're not done. With God, if you're not dead, you always get a second chance. Aren't you thankful for that? There's a hidden verse. I call it a hidden verse because nobody ever talks about this verse. It's Isaiah 11:11. And it says this. It says, in that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time. He is the God of second chances. And somebody needs to see this today. Somebody needs to feel it in there. Somebody needs to experience it. In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time. I'm going to end with this. Can I tell you a story that you will think I made up as my closer? Is that okay? Okay, I promise you, I did not make up this story. This is not a preacher story. This is real. So in our house, we have a hamster, a pet hamster named Mr. Nibbles. Okay, and 3 people in my house think he's a pet. 1 person in our house thinks he's a rodent. I'll let you guess which one I'm in, which camp I'm in. Listen, I grew up in a single-wide trailer. If you saw a little fuzzy thing like running next to the floorboard, you didn't give it an exercise ball and some food. You gave it poison, all right? That's the house I grew up in, okay? So, anyway, I'm outnumbered in my house. So, we have Mr. Nibbles, and we got him 2.5 years ago. Now, I looked right away. The average lifespan of a rodent hamster is 2 years. But Mr. Nibbles exercises a lot. I mean, he's been doing great. Like that song, Forever Young, that's been my hamster. Until about a week ago, he turned from like Forever Young to Mr. Magoo in an hour. And long story short, Mr. Nibbles passed away this past week. Don't worry, I'm good. But I appreciate it. So we were going to do a funeral service for Mr. Nibbles, all right? And so he had been confirmed deceased by multiple sources for like 12 hours. And so Nixon decided to be like a pallbearer before the funeral service. And he brought him down and put him on the front step. Nobody like asked him to do that, but he brought him down. And I was just in my front yard, walking our dog to go to the bathroom. And I was, preparing my funeral notes for Mr. Nibbles, And I looked over, and Mr. Nibbles is on the front step, mind you. And I see this. I was like, wait. No lie. Again, he's like, I'm like, really, Lord? I've asked for a lot of miracles. You got to bring him. You're going to use it on him? This is not a lie. Mr. Nibbles was alive, okay? I saw, Lazarus happen on my front steps, and now he did fully pass 2 days later, all right? But forget that. That ruins the whole story. Don't remember that. But here's the thing. There's somebody here today, and you're thinking, man, I'm done. I'm too far gone. Like, it's over. I went the wrong way. I did the wrong thing. I did, whatever. I just came to church to tell you, you're still alive. You're still alive. So there's still time. God still has a plan. God still has a path. If you're not dead, you're not done. Okay? At the fork in the road, though, you just got to choose God's way. And the Lord will reach out his hand a second time. Aren't you thankful? Let me pray for you guys. Jesus, I'm so thankful that you're the God of second chances and third chances and 15 chances. I mean, we're grateful, God. And Lord, I just pray for the people in this room who maybe their mind is taking them on a wild ride right now, that they'll just know that you're near. You are near. Why can we have peace and not have anxiety? Not because it's on a bumper sticker, but because you're Lord, you're near and you're the Lord. And so, God, I just pray you'll give us that peace. And God, I pray that whatever fork in the road we're facing right now, that we'll get advice from your word. We'll get advice from what you have to say, because you're like a GPS. You have so much to say about guiding our life. And it's so easy to go the wrong way, but then we end up in the wrong place, and we're like, God, where are you? But God's here. He's near. And so, God, I just pray that we'll go to you, that you will be the source. You'll be our GPS. You'll put us in the right direction, and that we'll have the courage and the strength to go that direction. And God, thank you, as always, for your amazing grace and your second chances. And if you're grateful for that, just say amen.